we were telling stories of Shilem, didn't even call him Reb, just Shilem, the legendary and much beloved Mashpia in Lubavitch. I told you that the Frierdiker Rebbe said after he passed away, he died very young at age 35. He said he's envious of him because he is by the Rebbe Rashab here in Chassidus. This was immediately after his passing.
Who is this?
Shilem.
Oh, Shilem.
Shilem Koratin.
Yeah.
There's someone later on who said, he testified, as it were, that Shilem reached the shleimus of what a person could reach. In his shleimus, tachlis. Told some beautiful stories till now. You can listen to them on, you can see them on the YouTube or on the chat.
Whatever.
So the story is as follows. So the yeshiva now, this is already that they have left. This is 1929.
1929. It was after the Rebbe Rashab passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One second. No. This story is 1919.
Before.
This is the Rebbe Rashab's in Astov.
And that was the last year before he passed away.
Yeah, the Lubavitch is ended. There's no longer Lubavitch. It's a terrible. This is in the beginning of the revolution. So Yudel Chitrik relates that for about a year, so the yeshivas in Kremetshug, moved to Kremetshug, and things were quiet.
Why did they move?
The Lubavitch is closed because of World War I, the Germans.
Okay, just asking.
So then things were, so for a period, things were going well, and many Talmidim joined. And he said the number of Bochrim, there was 150 Bochrim from 18 years old and up. They were called the Ulam or the Zal, and that's aside from younger Bochrim, which was called the Nashir. That's what it was called, like Sifta. But then after Shavuos of 1919, Tafish Ein Tes, then it started the whole turmoil. And the government was exchanged one, the other. You know the story, the Russian Revolution. The Tsar was shot. Hundreds of years of the Tsar rule came to a brutal end. And there were various factions were fighting for control over Russia. Now, one of the factions was this general, led by a general called Grigoriev. And he was fighting against the Bolsheviks. And he instigated his soldiers to attack Yidden at that time. I guess they were seen as, and they were, as red members of the Red Party, as Bolshevik communists. This is a terrible danger to walk in the streets, and even in the homes, people were terrified. At that time, Shilem lived in the north of the city, Kremetshug, whereas the yeshiva was in the south. And even though it was very dangerous to walk, even at the early hours, the yeshiva used to come every morning, go back home at night. So one day, before Shavuos, the following happened. This story was told by his son. He lived in Tzfat, if I'm not mistaken, passed away not so long ago, the Mishneh Zalman, who told the story. This his mother told him. He was actually there, he doesn't remember it. This is what happened. What happened was that the apartment building which they lived in, so the son was a member of the Communist Party, and he was accused of assassinating one of these Grigoriev's officers.
Whose son?
The son of the owner of the building.
Oh, okay.
Son of the owner of the building. I'm not sure if it's not a building, you just own the apartment. The government owned it, you own the apartment. So you follow, so the son had killed one of his high-ranking officers. So one day, the soldiers, Grigorayev's soldiers come, everybody out of the apartments, lined them up. This is Abshalom's apartment. Lined them up on the street, and by association, they're all accused, no trial, of being in cahoots with the son, and therefore they'll now be shot. So, what was the name? I think it was Bela. Shilom's wife starts to plead with him. He says, Shilom too, him and his wife and the small children. She says to the soldiers, we're adults, but what did the children sin? Please. So they said this little discussion. Okay. So the soldier said, remove the children, they're lined up. A rifle, cocked, facing them. And all of a sudden, another soldier comes, and he says to them that they've called back to the base immediately. So they just stop what they're doing, and they go. And he says, and they were saved. So he came to yeshiva, and he told the story, and he made the bracha mistake, and they benched him, him. So one of the bachim maybe said to him that, he says, Shilom, I envy the tshuva that you must have done that moment facing the gun, facing the firing squad. My father said that the story is told over by the Shnei Zalman. So he said, when you stand with your family in front of the firing squad, it's very hard to do tshuva. Good tshuva is best to do unter den talis, under the talis. And he adds, by the way, and after that, that's when they moved him into he no longer moved into one of the rooms in the yeshiva, one of the floors of the yeshiva. So the hero is, to do a simple hero, do tshuva when out of desperation, not so good. So when Baruch Hashem, Sheker to B'Shalva, and hope they wish to give us another day and many, many days into tshuva now. That's when it's much easier, he says, and that's when it counts. All right, friends.